Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the 2011 movie called In Time, starring Justin Timberlake. And this is what I'd call a classic $10 burger movie. It's not like a $25 burger that you'd get from like a hotel, it's not Inception, right? Like an amazing $25 burger sci-fi movie. It's more like In-N-Out or Shake Shack, which is not to disparage it. I actually really like Shake Shack and In-N-Out, and there's a time when you just want an In-N-Out or a Shake Shack burger, a $10 burger. It's not McDonald's, it's not Jack in the Box, it's not the lower end of the fast food chain, it's the higher end of the fast food, right? And there are two main reasons that I really like this movie. First, let's give a quick synopsis. So in this movie, it's sci-fi, it takes place in the future, and it's a society that's got districts, very Hunger Games. And in this world, people are genetically modified so that they stop aging at 25. And at that point, you have a kind of timer in your forearm with 1 year left on it. And time is money. So you've got 1 year, and that timer starts, ticking down. But you can earn more time, right? So time is essentially money. You can, people steal time from each other. They gamble time with each other. You win a bet, you get a month left. You earn a month back on your time, and you see the forearm clock, increase a month, etc. So you work, and some people, may only have a few days left on their clock, and so they're struggling and they're working hard to try and get more and more time. Other people may have, hundreds or even thousands of years on their clock, and they're just going to stay 25 for seemingly forever. And this brings up one of the things that I love about this movie, which is just this metaphor of time and money. There's a great podcast called the What is Money podcast. I highly recommend it. And that's actually a deep and meaningful question. What is money? And there's lots of ways that you can answer that. But one of the ways you can answer it is time, right? Money represents time that you have put towards something. Money is essentially your way of getting time from other people, right? Either goods or services. Goods meaning things that you don't have to spend time building because somebody else built it, or services, right, that someone else is going to spend their time doing. And so what I liked about this movie is it made that connection, and it makes it very strongly, right? Time literally is money. Money, the commodity that people are exchanging is time. And again, there's lots of ways that you can look at money, but anybody who knows that they're going to die tomorrow would be willing to give all their money away for more time, right? Which again just proves the point that in the end, I think actually money and time are somewhat synonymous, or money is a way to store time is actually a more accurate way. We use money to represent time that we have spent on something, and we store it so that we can use that time later on. The other reason why I really like this movie is, and this is one of the classic examples of why I built this channel, really it's just Robinhood. This is just a Robinhood story in a sci-fi setting where money is time, or time is money. So Justin Timberlake is essentially the Robin Hood. He falls in love with a woman named Sylvia Weiss, who is played by Amanda Seyfried, and she is the maid Miriam, right? She is kind of like a princess. She is the daughter of a magnate played by Vincent Carthizer from Mad Men. You'd probably recognize him as Pete from Mad Men. And Vincent is, looks 25, but he's, who knows how old, and he's got thousands, if not millions of years. It does seem like he's got many millions of years on his clock, and so he looks the same age as his daughter, of course. So she's kind of like the heiress, the princess. She could live for as long as she wants, but she falls for Robin Hood, Justin Timberlake. And there is even a sheriff of Rottingham, a sheriff of Nottingham, played by Cillian Murphy. They call them timekeepers in this. So the timekeepers go around to make sure that people aren't stealing time or have time that they shouldn't have. And of course, the timekeepers are chasing Justin Timberlake, the Robin Hood. Sylvia, the princess, falls in love with Robin Hood because he is stealing from those who have lots of time, and in the movie he is giving it away to the public because he comes from a neighborhood where, again, people are living day to day, quite literally. And he doesn't like that. It turns out that he comes from, a line his father tried to do something similar. You sort of get a nod to that. And of course, you get a sense of a larger society where order is maintained by having these districts, and some districts are rich in time and others are not. And you sort of keep those people in ignorance. There's even a kind of sense of, you have Robinhood and his merry men. With Justin Timberlake as Robin Hood, there are 2 or 3 characters, not main characters, anything. They're just sort of nodded, but they come across as the Will Scarlet or Little John type character, or maybe that's the preacher from that helped with Robin Hood, the monk. So again, you kind of get the sense of it really is just a total nod to Robin Hood. And again, I'm not knocking it. I thought it was a nice recreation of Robin Hood. It took the same idea, taking from the rich, giving to the poor, but added this sci-fi element of, instead of stealing gold from the rich and giving it to the poor, he's stealing time, or the ability to live, especially the ability to live as you want, right? Because if you've only got 24 hours to live and you have to work to, continually add more time, you're running everywhere, right? You're hustling, which, again, they do cute little nods to that throughout the film, where people from the poor districts, they do everything fast, right? Because they don't have time to dilly-dally. Whereas people in the rich areas, it's a cultural thing to, be calm and to do things slowly. It's a sign of your wealth. It's also kind of an interesting thing where they're very careful with their bodies, because the only way they can die is if something bad happens, right? So they have bodyguards just on a regular basis. They buy cars, but they actually don't drive them, right? They just sort of display them, because you could get in a car accident if you drive a car. Anyways, again, for me, great $10, $11 burger of a movie, meaning, if you've got nothing to do and you just kind of want a nice little story, I like the sci-fi elements of it. I like the time is the commodity. And again, it's just a classic tale, Robin Hood. There's been many versions of Robin Hood, and this is just another version of it. And finding those connections that, I can tell the writers were like, we need to do a Robin Hood, but let's do a sci-fi version of it. When you see those movies, those are the kinds of things that I love in a weird way. And that's one of the reasons why I made this channel. So In Time, 2011, starring Justin Timberlake, who is a good actor, by the way. It's basically Robin Hood, but instead of stealing money and giving it to the poor, he steals the ability to survive, literally time, and gives it to the poor. As always, if you like, please subscribe.